hour or so, I will try to relation about the digital economy as well as how important on a digital economy the security side for us. The previous notes loud there, the abilities we have, and from a government of Maldives, what they are doing, and awareness, what is being getting. Yeah, okay. The few slides what I have to think back, all of us know. On, is it breaking? Or probably I'll move to the podium itself, that will be. Is it okay now? Or they'll give you another one, okay. Okay, this is better, I believe. So all of us knows about the Industrial Revolution. We have gone through the first, second, third. We are getting into the fourth now. Fourth is what we're talking about is the digital economy. So as a nation, I mean, we are coming from Sri Lanka, we won Maldives. We have missed the first, we have missed the second, we have missed the third, right? I can see a lot of people nodding their heads. So can we miss the fourth? No, I don't think. If we miss the fourth, will be toasted. But there are quite a bit of factors. If you take it from a Maldivian point of view, from an agricultural economic point of view, what is the biggest asset, what is required is a land, which is, this is a rare thing for you, right? I mean, you would have abandoned land because say 90 or 98% is sea what you have, right? And when you're looking at the industrial economy point of view, what is coal and oil, which is, you don't have it, or in Sri Lankan point of view, we don't have it. But we never had that resources. But again, when you're looking at the digital economy point of view, data, connectivity, cloud, etc., all of us has. So now, the resources, what is required for the modern economy, we have. Previous generations, not industries, we never had the supply. Now, this is the way which is we need to think through, how do you grow our economy? So, I mean, this is not rocket science for all of us. Digital economy, you're talking about the satellite to, you're talking about IoT, cloud, computing, storage, so much of computing words comes in. And the industry is getting changed. The way you study, way you work, way your healthcare, everything is getting changed due to this thing. So all of us went through this COVID 2.5 years, everything went online. We were pushed to do that. We lived through online systems, right? Now, the way everything is getting changed, and one of the points, like, the previous speaker spoke about the digital literacy. The talent what is required is getting changed. We need people with these right skill sets to work on these environments. From a cybersecurity point of view, unless you have that digital literacy, if you don't know how to protect your password, starting from those basic fundamentals, you will be not able to move, right? Say in a modern day, if you want to get into a job, what you have to do, you have to, 99.9%, you have to apply it online. Now, if you don't have the digital literacy, you will not be able to even apply to get into the job. So that's where the world is heading right now. And if you really think through, from a digital economic point of view, what are the key indications? There's a direct correlation with the national economy as well as the growth of the digital economy has a straight impact. Now, from the connectivity point of view has become a foundation. You can see there's a direct correlation between the GDP of the country and the connectivity which is the countries have invested. The Maldives obviously in the high ranks because you have done quite a bit of infrastructure investment, specifically on 5G, etc. You can clearly see from a fixed broadband and a mobile broadband, 10% of increase. There's a direct correlation of 2% your GDP growth. These are global stats, right, across the world. And the other key thing is you can see the computing power in your nation. That also has a correlation between directly how it is impacting the GDP. Now this is the more of, we can call it, the connectivity and the computing is as the more of the traditional things. But now AI has come. It is actually, has a steep growth. But they're talking about the compounded annual growth, or CAGR we call it, is about 31% for next six years, which is their forecasting. Now, if you have proper connectivity, you have your computing in, which is the AI in, these are becoming a key 3 factors for the growth of your economy. As I said before in the previous slide, that agriculture, industry, we didn't have the resources. This is what we can make use of it and how we can be part of the 4th industrial revolution and can get into the next stage. Now, it's important we need to have a proper plan for the nation. From a digital economy point of view, I know what I know is Maldives is working on the digital economy plan, or the strategy, what we call it, is on halfway. And we heard from previous speakers, there are certain acts are going into the parliament, as well as AI strategy. That is also something which is, I got to know, is that Maldives is working on right now. So when you're looking at 71, almost 170 countries has the digital strategies. Because say the previous slide which talks about how the growth is happening, and these are the areas growth is on. And 60 plus countries has AI strategies. Sri Lanka also very lately published the digital economy strategy, what they call it as 2030. And also AI strategy is also being published, followed by that. So these 2 things has to come in, and there are many other things will follow. It goes into the education, health, all that. You need to have a strategy how the digital adoption will happen. Unless you have this plan with time-bound KPIs, you will not be able to reach these goals. Now, there are key 3 factors we call it, which is we call it as a digital country when you name it. One of the key things is the government, livelihood, and the economy. These are the 3 main pillars which is we need to focus on. If you miss one, the real impact will not get it in. So when you're looking at from a government point of view, how the digitization will help. Say, one core thing in this part of the world, we are talking about corruption. How do you reduce corruption? How you increase the efficiency of government? Here you are talking about information and communication security, local data storage, dedicated network, and physical isolation, right? Here, cost reduction. They're talking about in Brazil how the services management costs by 97% and government services delivery time by 74% it has been increased. So these are very high interesting stats which is going to think how the digitization can transform your nation. Because for Maldives also have your unique challenges because the islands are spreaded, your population is spreaded. If somebody to get some documentation done from a far island, I don't know, 4 hours, 3 hours in a boat, somebody has to travel and get that done. Maybe that will be a 5 minutes thing, but you have to go back. But digitally, wherever they are in that island, you will be able to get their services done within no time. All right? So this is how the transformation is happening. When you're looking at from an economic point of view, when you're looking at global digital economy will account to 24% from a digital economy point of view. So I'm not quite sure. I tried to search for some stats of the percentage of the digital economy to the national economy. Right now, I couldn't find, I'm not quite sure any published data available right now from a Maldives point of view. Sri Lanka point of view also we have a challenge. We are at about 3.7% of the GDP, the digital economy contribution coming in. We are far below as is the global average also, Sri Lanka. Because that's number has to be put in place and driving it. Digitization creates a total value around USD 27 trillion between 2016 to 2025. Look at the amount of impact the global economy will create. And the livelihoods, obviously, people will be able to access your payments, your birth certificates, marriage certificates, education, whatever you call it. through digital services. Now, how do you do that from a technology point of view? So this is, we need to have a kind of a blueprint for the nation. So we need, it can vary, but fundamentals remain same. Unless we have this structure in place, if you do certain plugins at any given time, you will be not able to have a very seamless process in your environment. So two key things, you need to have one network for the government, plus you need to have one cloud. Now, both put together, you have all your applications coming in. So you have a cloud, which is the data will be stored, and you have a network, which is the entire government will be covered. So this has to be secured. Now, applications will run on top of that. So this model has to be built and how that will work from a government point of view. And that strategy document need to really cover that, how that environment will work. So if I talk from that, we heard about the IoTs, etc. in the morning keynote. So everything started sensing right now, starting from your examples, what you took for your door locks to everything. And intelligent, which is you have the client side, then you have the government network coming in, then obviously the cloud will host all these government, connected to the government network. Then you will have all the government applications. End of the day, you have digital government, digital society, and the digital economy, how all this can be accessed. In simply, we call it, as you have the cloud, you have the network. On top of that, you have, generally we call it as NDX, National Exchange, or a data lake. Now, United Nations has brought the new definition, what they call as a digital public infrastructure, DPI. That's what this is all about. On DPI, on top of that, what you call the digital public goods. That's how it will be created. Digital public goods is the services you deliver on top of that to your citizens. So that DPI need to be really defined by the government from a strategic document point of view. Unless you have this seamless workflow, you will be not able to get the best of the solutions to your country. Unless you have things you straight away start plugging in an ad hoc way, you will run into a lot of issues, and specifically security issues, because you know where the challenges are coming in. Okay, I will talk about three maybe main sections from a government services point of view. All of you understand that digital ID, this is something already Maldives have done. You can have all your online services, online preview, online applications, digital payments, and digital payments is one thing which is Maldives has successfully done. If I'm not mistaken, 70% or so you're already on digital currency, right? So this is something which is already achieved. Then you have the, what you call the service hall, which is again using the authentication, help desk, one window, which is one-stop shop for all your clearances, exactly. So this is, when you create that digital public infrastructure stack, you will be able to go through the entire process and the government services can be fulfilled using this. Then think about one of the critical factors is education. What I know with your geographical environment, you have quite a bit of challenges because islands are scattered. Schools are in this island. There's about 180,000 school-going children in the Maldivian, all the islands when you put together. But you have challenges of maths teachers, science teachers, IT teachers. But you may having schools, there's no English teacher at all or a maths teacher at all. But technology can definitely help the best maths teacher in Maldives to teach all the, we say grade 7 kids, maths using technology. That's where the change comes in. Now, many of us in this audience, part of this generation, right? We went to school, looked at the blackboard, wrote everything in the textbook. What teacher wrote in the blackboard, we copied it, and what teacher said is right. Nowadays, it's not the case. Kids challenge teacher. Because we are a generation who were born before internet. We migrated to the digital era, but nowadays the kids are born in the internet era. They are digitally born. So now they want to move to the environment where, anywhere, anytime, learning. So this is the beauty of, again, digital public's environment, what I'm talking about, how education can transform, and the points what is talking about, digital safety, etc. These tools can be used to educate kids, and they are the people are mostly using this. Unless we educate them, get them to get a grip of it, we will run into challenges of using technology. One of the other point was, which is need to look at, is the, what do you call, the safe city. When yesterday I was here, I was looking at one of the stalls which is done by the police. It's talking about the traffic violation, number plate recognition, and how you send a warning to that. So this is exactly what you're talking about. You prevention, what you're doing is prevention, right? You give a warning to that guy, hey, you're speeding, be careful. If you come caught next time, I'll punish you. It will buy that he knows somebody's watching me and will be careful. So that's the prevention part. You need to control things. Management, then investigate. So when you have a security operating system, all that can be done, which is a safe city. It's not the safe city of, like you're watching somebody robbing, but the safety of the people. Like speeding example, what you are doing here, that's exactly what you're needing, because that's the safety of the people of who's going in the bikes, etc., which is the speeding has been controlled. So there's many more things can be done, and the models what you developed, what I understood from your team, that AI models has been developed by the police, taking it to the next level. Even they're working on the facial recognition, etc. That is perfect, which is homegrown. You are taking the technology to the next level. Again, we need to think about the security aspect, which is I'll talk on the next slides. Now, one of the key, what happened to the slide now? Okay. One of the key things, which is we need to understand, when a country is start investing, there are a lot of challenges. You will have a lot of coverage challenges. I think Maldives has already overcome this situation. Most of the leading islands has already connected with fiber. 5G is right across. But here, what I want to show, this country as what I took as an example from African continent, they had all these challenges. Look at the numbers. They have connected 5,189 hospitals, 4,058 schools, right? 1,711 municipalities. Purely connectivity, all the services getting seamlessly, education happening digitally. Look at the benefits what they are getting. Their GDP growth has impacted 5.2% in next 6 years. For us to get a single digit growth, that's a severe challenge. Look at the transformation what they have done. 1.6 million new jobs. $500 million of saving. Just imagine the amount of money you save. If you save $500 million, that's fairly a larger percentage of your economy. That money can be reinvested. The investment what you made definitely gives you a super ROI. And it is evident, it's not, you don't have to wait for 20 years. You don't have to wait for 10 years. You will see it in a couple of years. And that 5.2 growth of GDP will give you returns like no time. That's the key factor. That's the key factor. Now, when you're looking at these investments, this is where the priority has to become. And when the budget allocations are done by the government, this is where the priority need to come into the equation. Now, saying all that, that is very nice. But when you're looking at this graphic or the map, you can see so many countries have gone in digital, but so many attacks happening across. I mean, this is audience here may be very much aware that when you're looking at many countries, you look at all the, like in the US, UK, Germany, Ukraine, South Korea, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, entire world, continuously these attacks are happening. Now, as I said, it's nice that you have a clear GDP growth, you have jobs created, you have a lot of money saving. But if your systems are not protected, you're vulnerable, you will lose everything. Now the criticality comes in, what do we do about it? Now, understanding that, obviously we don't have a choice. We can't say, hey, there's going to be attacks, I'm not going to go digital. I'm more than happy with the blackboard and the chalk. Let my kids learn using the blackboard and the chalk. No. Then they'll be like completely outdated. You need to get digital in. But the way is, we need to make sure right procedures, mechanisms has been done. So maybe this is not the best example to use it, but somebody thinking of robbing a bank. We have seen in older American movies, right, how people goes and rob banks, like they plan for months and they have weapons and they go break in, go under tunnel. So many things they do, right? They have enough time to make a 2-hour movie. There's content, right, to make a 2-hour movie. In modern day, somebody is seated in an AC room somewhere, within 2 minutes, so many millions of dollars, even like, without sweating even a single minute, so many millions can be transferred, hacking into the system. I don't think any movie producer can make a movie out of that because there's no enough time, right? Less than 1 minute, all done. So that is where the variance comes in. Now, all the countries, when you're looking at, talking about the US, EU, like NATO, China, so many countries have cyber sovereignty assurance and international cooperation, cyber security administrations, so many topics. There are different policies and frameworks has been brought in. So this is the criticality. One of the previous keynotes spoke about, do we need to make our own policies and the standards? No. What we need to do is, entire world does it. We need to study and adopt what is suitable for us. There are global bodies making standards. Now we spoke about the Network Readiness Index. Yesterday, Defense Minister spoke in detail. How do you get a Network Readiness Index rating high? Maldives at 177, right? So it's not really great versus 190 odd countries. We need to move up the ladder. We need to do the right things to make sure. And all the digitization efforts, what you're making, unless we get the ranking up, security up, we are vulnerable. So now, we really need to think through what are the aspects need to be done. I think you have already taken, cybersecurity agencies have been formed. I think your ACT is coming in, and CIT is working on it, your ministry is working on it. You're on the right direction, but need to move a little faster to get it going. So I will narrow it down to a little bit limited time we have. So one of the global associations who are making standards is what you call the GSMA, specifically on the telecom side, which is, since I got these slides in with what I heard from the minister, the Networking Readiness Index, which is something which is your focus on, and which is GSMA has something called FASG, that is Fraud and Security Group. So that has like entire world is part of this. So you have about 250 plus businesses, 800 plus operators. We have 220 countries and regions are part of that. Here they are talking about how to unlock the full power of the connectivity. They are not trying to limit it. But unlock the full power, we need to have the right procedures and the process to unlock it. Then only people will get the best, provided that we'll be having more secured environment. So there's a GSMA board, there's a technology group, there's a working group on FASG. Now there's a clear process on that. So I recommend you to study this, what GSMA is doing with 3GPP, and how the standards has been adopted in this environment. Now, this is on a very high level. All of us knows there's a 3-layer approach, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So there are 2 key standards which has been adopted globally. What they call is on the layer 2, which is the network security, primarily come from operator point of view. What you call the mobile security knowledge base, MCKB. These documents are publicly available from GSMA side, which is my strong recommendation, so look at it. We are more than happy to help you to get this information. And the layer 1 product security, what they're talking about, which is coming from specifically like suppliers like us, will be able to give you better products. What standard we are using is a network equipment security assessment scheme, which is we call it NISAS. We need to make sure all the products are getting shipped to your country are mandated and aligned with these standards. So if you allow products and standards, products coming into your country without adhering into these standards, you're asking for trouble in simple way. You're keeping your door open. So there has to be a very strict guidelines, what can be shipped into your nation. That has to be really looked at. So these standards has to be set up in your nation in line with the global standard. It's not the case of Maldives is isolation is setting up, but this is what we really need to look at it. Now, what this means in very high level, I have to say, on MCKB, what they're talking about, there's threat controls, security controls, and compliances, and there are a set of solution standards has been set up. Now, these standards, we have to make sure, do these standards has in your documentation as a country? Which level of security standards already you have adopted? This is what the world is heading in on MCKB. Now, again, say going into the typical security compliances, there are recommendations as example ISO standards. What can be taken in? There are certain algorithms, etc., from security control point of view, solution. So there are standards already being defined, and these are not stopping, it keeps evolving, and we need to be aligned with that environment. Then NISAS, this is something which is getting evolved from 2012 onwards, together with the 3GPP, and it's continuously evolved till the last version was updated towards end of 2023. Now this NISAS gives you equipment, what is being shipped to any country has to be validated in these standards. Now, I think one of the keynote speakers said, like, if you don't have as a supplier, if you don't have these standards met, they don't talk about it. If you have these standards, we loudly talk about it. That is where I'm coming from as a vendor point of view. That's why we are educating you to make sure that what is being shipped to your nation has to be really make sure these standards are met. If you bring equipment without these standards, you are in trouble for sure. So there are many standards benefits what you get, and these process also from a NISA's point of view, it keeps evolving and it's continue to evolve and make sure studies are on. Now, from a Huawei point of view, I'll touch upon on few slides what we do. So security is very utmost. Again, I'm reiterating, we are talking loud and clear because we adhere to all these guidelines. We make sure that all our products what we are shipping is very much in line with the global security standards, and we make sure safety of every nation, everything, any country we ship anything, we are bound by that. So Huawei guarantees that its commitment to cybersecurity and business security will never be overweighted by consideration of commercial interest, which is we'll never do that. We'll make sure that what is being shipped is with utmost protection. Now on a high level, this is how the process works. We have a strategy, governance, environment, we have a policy, we have like so many lawyers, we have experts, we have standard process on the product, every solution which is we are shipping. And additionally, we have process execution, which is from R&D, verification, supply management, manufacturing, service delivery goes on. Support 100% employees, including myself, who are seated from my team, who's here. We have already signed BCG. So that's how rigorously, as a Huawei, as a global company, follows this. Again, we have the 100% commitment. We don't wait within internal as well. Now we have third-party suppliers who do components shipping to us. We have a clear process of supply management. We use a lot of open source standards. We do verification in this open source standard as well. And obviously the R&D what we do in-house. Right across, this is the three types of source component security, what we do as organization. Then this is how the process works: security planning, security design, security development and build, security testing, verification. So with the interest of time, I'll go a little faster. And we have a clearly defined process from the consumer requirement comes in versus the secure product is being shipped. And it has a very rigorous process to the entire thing. Also, we have products also, apart from all the products for shipping, 100% security compliant. And also we ship security products, which is security solutions, ransomware protection solutions, and security operation system products. We have all these products, and obviously if you're looking at these solutions, let us know. Probably I don't want to make it a sales pitch. Our team is here. We will be able to talk offline, which is not the right intention of doing a sales pitch in a keynote. Okay, so now you, from your leadership, you have a marching orders. It's clearly defined. You are looking at 2040 to become a, a developed nation. The direction has been set by the current leadership. And there are three key things which is I extracted. What your president is saying, and digitization as the cornerstones of Maldives for national vision. So that will include everything what you're going and looking at digital. And also talking about by 2030, 15% of the GDP by 2030. So that's a very clear indication giving economic prosperity to be brought in. And the last point, safeguarding the rights, he emphasizes the need to protect consumer rights, digitalization, addressing the challenges like unauthorized access and etc., etc. So now, point number one, he's saying, obviously you go digital for everything. And you are talking about economic aspect of 15% of your economy to be grow by digital economy. And I think people here seated here, given the task to make sure everything is secured, all right? And you would have a way out now. It is written here. I never wrote it. I extracted from this president's website. So it's very clear. And you have marching orders to execute. Okay, so in conclusion, you have the leadership direction. Previous slide it shows. Execution team, that's you guys. New environment has been set up, new agencies are getting set up, new acts are coming in. Then industry leadership, digital partners like us can come into the equation. Sustainable investment. Remember DPI. You take a printout of that and paste on top of your pillow. When you get up in the morning, you see it. When you go to sleep, you see it. That should be the mantra. DPI. Don't do plugins. The risk is high and you're asking for trouble. The key is Huawei, the choice of partner. We are much more than happy to help you. As I said, previous point, we are 100% compliant. That's why we are talking about loud and clear. And we will handhold you, since we have 170 plus countries experience across the world, what worked, what didn't work. We'll be able to help you in that environment. With that, I'll conclude. Together, promote a digital future. Thank you. So if there's time, I'm okay to take one or two questions. So normally what happens, if you understand everything, no questions. If you don't understand anything, still no questions. In between, there are questions. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, so say that doesn't mean you define a DPI structure. You have to invest everything at the day one. So what you do is you you make a blueprint of the DPI infrastructure for the nation. Maybe we say now, say you have a goal of 2030, right, in between. So blueprint will be built for next 5 to 6 years. And you do the investment on priority basis. On, we say year 1, that is like short term. Year 2, 3, mid term. 4, 5, long term, right? Then you prioritize what need to be invested. Now, as example, like say, sometimes some do other way around also. They build a huge network, but they don't have a data center. What do you communicate? You can't communicate anything. Do you have applications? No. You build a highway. You need to put a Ferrari on that, right? No point putting like a Maruti. So now that decision has to be made as a team with the challenges you have your nation. So one, obviously, tourism is a big industry. E-commerce definitely will become a big industry for you. So on economic aspects, national security aspects, economic aspects of, like say, education, healthcare, social welfare, all that, you need to prioritize. I mean, for any country, education, health is a priority. Then economic, tourism, e-commerce, obviously. Fintech, you have come a long way. Then, okay. I'm not quite sure from Sri Lanka point of view, it costs 1.5% of our GDP for the cost of cash. We are spending 5% for education. If you save that 1.5% of cost of cash, added to education, education will become 6.5%, right? I mean, that is something can be done. You're not saving from somewhere or not cutting anything. Now you have, like, what I saw a little bit in last 2 days, there's a lot of discussion about certain tax challenges, etc., right? But how do you optimize it? Give a better service. You define your payments, mechanisms, etc. I mean, obviously you will also have people doesn't pay tax, right? But people who pay more. How do you get that tax net widen? This is the way. So now we need to sit together, define the DPI structure, blueprint, and prioritize what need to be done in year 1, short term, mid term, long term. Accordingly, you need to do your finance planning to do that. And the point I made in that African country, if you do the investment, growth trajectory will happen, money will save. Obviously, that will have a better ROI without saying that. Any more? Okay, with that, I'll stop. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Hope I managed to give you some knowledge. And looking forward to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.